back to the Daily Grind. Thanks for checking out the channel. Make sure to hit subscribe if you're new and hit thumbs up if you're not a baby back pickle biting bitch boy, cause you know what time it is. It's full time.
MMA.
Before I get into this video, I gotta say, hashtag free John Jones. No, I'll get into that in another video. Cris Cyborg has agreed to kill Amanda Nunes, but only on a huge card. I don't know where this video is going to go. There's a couple of places I definitely got to touch. But first things first, I got to say, man, if you listened to actually what Cris Cyborg had to say in this interview, I believe it was with MMA Junkie, if I'm not mistaken. But if you listen to Cris Cyborg's voice, it was like, yo, Amanda Nunes might want to be careful what she wishes for. Cyborg sounded pissed. I don't think Cyborg's liking the fact that she's kind of looking like she's ducking Amanda Nunes in all of this, her denying the fight, saying she wants to build her. And you know, to be fair, that's another thing I want to touch on this video. I still don't know where Cris Cyborg's mind is at, because she's agreed to do it, but only on a huge card. So it's like, does Cris Cyborg, does she want to legitimize her division? Was that ever really the issue, or was it always about the money, which wouldn't be too surprising? I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's the money. It's the pay-per-view business. And but then I gotta take the video to this point, because before this point where Cris Cyborg has agreed to fight Amanda Nunes, and I've heard this multiple times, and every time it's like nails on a chalkboard to me when Cris Cyborg uses this argument. She says Amanda Nunes doesn't sell pay-per-views. That's why I don't want to fight her. You know, if GDR outsold Amanda Nunes, you know, by 2. It was like, what? You can, that is not a legitimate argument. You can't even give, it's going to be hard to argue Cris Cyborg's more of a draw than Amanda Nunes at this point, and let me explain why. Cris Cyborg, of course, would say, look at my numbers. I just fought Holly Holm, UFC 219. We just sold more than Amanda Nunes has ever sold. And it's like, yeah, but check this out. You were fighting Holly Holm. And whenever GDR outsold Amanda Nunes versus Valentina Shevchenko by 100,000 pay-per-views, guess who she was fighting? Boom, Holly Holm, you got that right. If Amanda Nunes fought Holly Holm, I bet you she would do a lot more pay-per-view buys. I mean, the fact is, Holly Holm was the first to beat Ronda Rousey. That's just the fact. She got the stardom from it, a lot more so than even Amanda Nunes. Amanda Nunes was next to beat Ronda Rousey, but by that time, you know, there was all type of reasons, and the marketing wasn't built on Amanda Nunes in that fight. You know, Holly Holm is the preacher's daughter, so Holly Holm sells pay-per-views. Holly Holm brings in numbers. So until Cris Cyborg, and whenever Cris Cyborg fought Tanya Evinger, guess what card she was on? There was 3 title fights on that card. John Jones, Daniel Cormier, Tyron Woodley, Damian Maia. So Cris Cyborg's like, oh, look at me, I'm fucking selling millies. I'm selling all these pay-per-views. Fuck you, Tom Matt. Me and fucking Holly Holm just did numbers. Me and fucking Tanya Evinger and John Jones, we did numbers. Where you at? Where you? So what if now all I gotta say is, then how about we go to Amanda Nunes versus Ronda Rousey? Can we use her numbers there then? If we can use your numbers versus Holly Holm, can we use Amanda Nunes versus Ronda Rousey? Because I think she sold over 1 million. And so that's all I'm saying. So I hate that argument when you tell me Amanda Nunes is not a draw, and then you tell me GDR and Cris Cyborg are. It's like, no, whoever's fighting Holly Holm or Ronda Rousey are the draws. So I just didn't like that excuse for not fighting Amanda Nunes. The best excuse Cris Cyborg was using, the legitimate excuse it seemed, was the fact that Cris Cyborg wanted to fight a legitimate featherweight. The fact that she wanted to put the UFC to build her division, because we know the UFC's featherweight division has been around actually longer than the flyweight division that was just installed to the UFC, and the flyweight division's already got like a top 15. Featherweight's got like Cris Cyborg and Holly Holm up there. That's it. So we still don't know what's going on with UFC's featherweight division, and so that's why when Cris Cyborg said, hey, I don't want to fight until we get some more 145 pounders in here, you know, a lot of people took that argument and ran with it. Like, yo, she just wants the UFC to build her division. And I had a counter to that, which is Amanda Nunes is the queen of bantamweights. If you beat Amanda Nunes, you don't have to, there's no other bantamweights people are going to want to see you fight, because Amanda Nunes is the queen. You knock her off, all we can see Cris Cyborg from there on out is 145 pounders. And even if it's Megan Anderson, who Misha Tate has said is not even as legitimate of a featherweight as a Cindy Dandewals, who has submitted Megan Anderson. But so there's a lot of stuff going on with Cris Cyborg in this fight. But One thing though, I will still say, she sounded pretty upset on that phone when she was saying, okay, I'll kill her if this is what she wants, but it's got to be on a big card. And so with that being said, that's fine with me. You know what I'm saying? And that just goes back to if Cris Cyborg is a draw, it wouldn't matter if you're fighting Amanda Nunes because you're the draw. When Ronda Rousey fought Amanda Nunes, you know why they still sold 1 million? Rousey's a draw. So if you fight Nunes and you're the draw you claim to be, you're still selling pay-per-views because you're a draw, right? Or do you realize, you know, that neither Cyborg nor Amanda Nunes are huge pay-per-view draws? So since you're a champion with pay-per-view points, you want to fight somebody that's either going to sell a lot or on a big card. And it really might not have anything to do with the featherweight division. I mean, and it could, but I'm just saying. Now Cyborg is looking like will fight Amanda Nunes. Dana White has came out and said that's still the fight to make. So I hope we do get to see it. And it's looking like Cyborg's coming around to it. But it's going to have to be on a stacked card. So, I mean, I'm fine with that. So, with that being said, it is what it is. Let the full-time family know what you think in the comments. I'm out.
Da 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 da. It's the motherfucking D-O-double-G.